Namaste yogis, my name is Nin and today we have a class for hamstrings and hips and trying to stretch them out. For this class I recommend you have a strap or a dressing gown belt or a towel, something that will help you get a bit deeper into these poses. So today we'll be keeping it pretty low down on the mat. Get into something comfortable and let's get started. So we'll come into our first pose, which is the tabletop pose. Just stay here. Bring your wrists under your shoulders, your knees hip width apart, and just circle round a few times here. Good. Keeping going, keeping that fluidity going through the spine. And then we'll take it back the other way. Come back to center, and now what I'd like you to do is start getting blood flowing to the hips. So bringing out your leg to the side, just begin to circle your leg. Now if you feel any clicking, that's completely normal. Just begin to circle round your left leg, opening up the hip crease, getting blood going into it. Good. Coming back down into tabletop pose now. Tuck your toes under and then we'll take a downward facing dog. Now just center yourself here. Don't worry if your heels don't reach the ground. Pedal it out if you need to. Just feel that stretch in the hamstrings and check, are you like an upside down V? Do your biceps align with your ears? Do you feel centered, pushing down into your palms, and try and push your chest and your sternum towards your thighs. Just stay here and let gravity do what it does. Bring blood to your head. And here in this pose, stretch out the hamstrings. If you need to, just step in a bit further towards your palms. That intensifies the stretch. Just breathe with me here. And then slowly we're going to come down into a chaturanga, bringing our thighs down to the mat, our tummy and our chest. And then we're going to push up into a cobra. And feel that lovely stretch just intensifying on your back, your lower back. Try and lift your ears away from the shoulders. Bring your shoulder blades together. And then push back into a child's pose. Breathing here for a few seconds. Find your center and then come back up into tabletop, and we'll take that on the other side. So what I'd like you to do now is lift up your right leg and begin to circle as we did before, just loosening up the right hip. And again, if you feel some clicking, that's absolutely normal. It's just hip stretching in a way it may not normally. Good. Just two more here. And then come back to tabletop. Check down with your navel. Are you all aligned? Then tucking your feet under. Come back up into a downward facing dog. Now just stretch out the hamstrings here. Breathing into them. Checking that your sternum is coming towards your thighs, that your head is neutral. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Good. Now pushing forward with your chest. Slowly lower down to the ground, pelvis, stomach, chest and forehead. And then we push up into a upward facing dog. So an upward facing dog is just when you push down into the mat and lift your thighs off the mat, bringing your chest out, opening it up, bringing your shoulder blades together. Exhale, come back briefly into child's pose. Come into a downward facing dog, tucking the toes under, lift your seat up to the sky. Inhale here. And then we're going to walk forward to the front of our mat and let our legs and heels reach down to the earth. Rooting our hands down into the ground. If you need to bend your knees here, then feel free to do so. Have maybe a micro bend in them. Maybe reach out for some blocks if it's too much for you here. And we're just going to hug our elbows. So let your head to hang down here. Beautiful. Now this is a really nice stretch again for the hamstrings. And especially you'll feel that stretch here in your lower back. Maybe sway from side to side here. Breathing into your hamstrings. And then putting your palms down onto the mat. What I'd like you to do is step back with your left leg this time and come into a high lunge. So just check here if your knee is at a 90-degree angle, your right knee, and that you're supported by your left leg. Check that you're stretching down into the hips. And just stay here. And then what I'd like you to do is bring your right hand inside your right foot and heel toe out with your right foot to the side. Now this is one of our first poses, yin poses we're going to come into, so make sure you're comfortable. And you might need to grab a few blocks to do this. So here, I'd like you to press down through your hips and thighs in a pose we call lizard pose. If you need a block or two to perch up on, then do that. Opening up your chest, looking in front of you. Or if you need to, and it's available, bringing the left knee down to the mat and then just pressing down that way. And if it's available, coming onto your forearms and take a lizard pose. Just find what feels good here, because we'll be in this pose for a few minutes. Breathing into your hips, feeling that beautiful stretch. Sinking deeper into this pose with every breath you take. A couple more breaths here, and then slowly begin to come upright again. And heel toe your right foot into center, and then slowly and with control pushing back with your hips and straighten out your right leg. If you can, bringing your forehead towards your right knee and flexing your right foot. And just push back in those hips as we come into this pose we call half split pose. Feel that lovely deep stretch in the right hamstring here. Just breathe into it, letting go the tension and just sinking in a little deeper every time. Inhale, exhale, and then begin to bend your right knee, putting your right foot onto the mat. And just take a low lunge here. Just check in, realign yourself if you need to. Check in that your right knee is above your right ankle. And then lift up with the palms to the sky. Straighten your torso and then press down into the hips, opening up. Exhale, come down to the mat with your palms. Bring your knees together into a tabletop. Tuck the toes under and we take a downward facing dog. And just notice here how the sides might feel different. Pedaling it out. Let your head hang. Bring your sternum towards your thighs. Press down through the heels. Let your head hang, your ears parallel to the biceps. Pedal it out if you need to. Before we step forward, this time with our left foot in between the gates of our arms, lifting the right knee off the mat and come into a high lunge. Just find your center here. And then placing your right knee on the mat, bringing your left hand in between, or rather into the center of the mat, and then heel toe out with your left foot to the side. And then we've got some options here. So again, if you want to stay up on your palms, bring your shoulder blades together and keep your chest open, but press down through your hips. If you need to, support yourself with a block and press down through the hips. Again. Or, if you like, come down onto your forearms and feel that really deep version of this stretch. Find what feels good here, because we're going to be in for the pose for a little while. Lizard pose. Inhale, exhale, and crisscross, heel toe your left foot into the center of the mat, and then slowly begin to push back with your hips so that you straighten up your left leg, bring your forehead down to your left knee, and then flex your left foot. The half split pose. Again, you'll feel this lovely stretch in your lower back and in your left hamstring. Flex your foot if you can. If you can't, don't worry. If you need to bend your knee, that's absolutely fine also. Just stretch out through that leg. Take a couple more breaths. And then planting your left foot onto the mat, bending your left knee as we come into a low lunge. So just here, straighten out your front foot. Check, is your ankle below your left knee? Inhale and straighten up your torso. Bring your palms above your head, pinky fingers in towards each other. Stretch out, bringing your shoulders away from the ears. Press down through the hips. Stretching up, stretch, stretch, stretch. Exhale, bring the palms down to the mat, tucking the toes under, bringing the left leg towards the right. We'll take a downward facing dog here. Well done. Inhale. Just let yourself hang here. Pedal out your feet. Notice how you feel now. Inhale. Exhale, and slowly begin to bring your knees down to the mat. And then we're going to come onto our backs for a few stretches. So here for this first pose is I recommend where you grab your band or your stretchy thing that will help deepen and intensify your poses. So here, first of all, just bringing your right knee to your chest and just circling it around slightly, just loosening up the hip crease. Back the other way. And then grabbing behind your right thigh, begin to straighten up your right leg. Now, do keep a micro bend in your leg if you need to. But if you can straighten it up, that's great. And maybe you'll be able to grab onto the calf and opening up your hips and stretching your hamstrings. And just check in, is your left leg as flat down as it can be? But if you would like to take a variation of this or would like support, bend your right knee and put the strap over your right foot. And then begin to straighten up the right leg and hold on to the strap. So here we're doing a reclined split pose. And just check in that left leg is still as straight as it can be. And if you ever want to intensify the stretch, lift your head off the mat and grab the strap a bit higher up. But if that's too much, just breathe here in this reclined split pose. Breathing in here. Just visualizing your body letting go of the tension, and it will. But don't forget to breathe, because your body and muscles need oxygen to release. Beautiful. Slowly begin to bend your right knee, and then just put the strap over to the side. Or just hug your right knee in. And then begin to lift your right foot up to the sky. And grab hold of your right foot either side, bringing your knee down towards your right armpit. Inhale. Exhale, feel that lovely stretch in the right hip crease here. Just pressing up to the sky with your right heel, keeping your foot flexed. Opening up the right hip. Inhale, one more breath, and then bringing the sole of your right foot down to the mat. And then just bring the sole of your right foot towards your left thigh and let your right knee fall out beside you. As we come into a reclined butterfly pose or a variation of it, half butterfly pose. And if you want to take this a little bit further, lift your palms over your head and intensify that stretch. This is a really nice restorative and relaxing pose. And then from here, bring your right leg out to meet your left leg. And bring your arms down to the mat beside your hips. And then we'll take that to the other side. So bring your left knee in towards your chest. Just give yourself a hug here. And then grab your left thigh from behind and begin to straighten up your left leg. And if it's available, you might be able to grab your left calf or your left ankle, lifting your head off the mat, and try and keep your right leg as straight as possible towards the mat. However, if you'd like to use a prop, bend your left knee, put the strap around your left foot, and then slowly, with control, begin to straighten up your left leg. And grab hold of the strap, and if you want to intensify the stretch, go up further onto the strap and bring your head off the mat. However, it's enough just to lie down on the mat, keeping your right leg straight, opening up your hips. Straightening your left hamstring for a few more breaths. That's all good. Then begin to bend your left knee. Take the strap off, bring your left knee into your chest, and then begin to straighten and lift your left foot up towards the sky and grab hold of your left foot either side. Whatever feels good. Checking in, is your knee in line with your armpit? Breathing in here into the left hip crease. And then slowly bringing the sole of your left foot down to the mat. Let the sole of your left foot meet your right thigh, and then just let your left knee fall out to the side as we take our half reclined butterfly pose. If you want to intensify the stretch, lifting up your arms over the top of your head. Sink into the earth. Thanking yourself for taking this time on the mat. One more breath. Then bring the sole of your left foot down to the mat. And now we're going to come into a pose we call sleeping Vishnu pose. So what I'd like you to do is put your right palm on the mat, and then just make sure your forearm is supporting you. So have your left elbow tucked under your left shoulder. And have your legs out straight below you. And then bend your right knee in towards the chest. Grab hold of your right foot. And then slowly begin to straighten it as much as you can. And eventually you might be able to get it completely straight. This is what they call sleeping Vishnu pose. It's a lovely deep stretch for the hamstrings to finish off with. So just breathe in here for a couple of times. Then bending your right knee, just come down onto the mat, and we're just going to take a variation of this pose. So lay down on your left arm. Now this can be quite wobbly, so just stay with me. Bringing your right knee towards your chest again. Grab hold of your right foot, and then just straighten your right leg. Now this is much more intense. Don't push it. If you feel it's enough for you today, just bend your right knee. Opening up the hips here. Stretching out the right hamstring. And then calm down with your right foot to the mat. And then we're going to take that onto the other side. So here again, rest on your forearm, check, is your right elbow underneath your right shoulder? Are you supported? And just have your legs out to this beneath you. And then bending your left knee into your chest, grab hold of your left foot and begin to straighten it out, your left leg. Take a few breaths here. Inhale, exhale, bending the left leg. And then we're going to come down onto that variation again. So lie down on your right arm. And then just finding comfort here. Bringing your left leg towards, left knee towards your chest. Grab hold. Don't be afraid if you wobble. Grab hold of your left foot and begin to straighten it if it's possible. Now, if you wobble, don't worry. I've toppled over a number of times. This can be very outside people's comfort zones. So just stretch in your hamstrings. Acknowledge it for what it is. Acknowledge that you're on a journey. And you're going to breathe into it. This 2 more breaths. Exhale, bending your left knee and come down to the mat and just lie down here. Just lie on your front here and roll down so that you're on your belly. Push up into Cobra pose. Then bring your seat back to your heels and we'll end in Child's pose today. Just notice how you feel now in your hamstrings and your hips. And thank yourself for coming onto the mat today and spending the time to nurture yourself and your body. And then from here, just slowly come up, walking your hands back and come into an easy pose. Cross your legs in front of you. Loop the shoulders back. Bring the palms together and we bow and say Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me and trying something new on the mat today. I hope you feel not so stiff and stifled in your hamstrings and your hips, and that you've been able to open up some energy in your legs. If you like what you saw, please comment below and check out my other videos. I've got a number of themed classes for all sorts of things. If you like what you saw, please also subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button and clicking the bell so you'll get notifications when my next video is uploaded. Until the next time,